My 80-year-old grandmother just discovered she has a twin sister. My 80-year-old grandmother just got the most shocking news of her life. She has a twin sister she never knew existed. For 8 decades, Grandma Rose thought she was an only child. Then a simple DNA test at the hospital revealed a secret that tore apart everything she believed about her family. Hi, I'm Emma, and today I'm sharing the story that reunited 2 sisters after 80 years of separation. My grandmother Rose is the strongest woman I know. Born in 1943, she was raised by her Aunt Martha after her parents died in a car accident when she was just 3 years old. At least that's what we all believed. Aunt Martha always told Grandma Rose she was an only child, that her parents had no other children. Rose grew up lonely, always wishing she had siblings, but accepting that she was alone in the world. 3 weeks ago, Grandma Rose was in the hospital for routine surgery. The doctors needed to do some blood work and genetic testing to check for hereditary conditions before the procedure. She agreed, thinking it was just standard medical stuff. But when Dr. Peterson came back with the results, he had a confused look on his face. "Mrs. Rose," he said, "there's something unusual in your genetic profile. According to this data, you should have a very close relative, possibly a sibling, who shares almost identical DNA with you." Grandma Rose laughed it off. "Doctor, I'm 80 years old. I think I'd know if I had a brother or sister." But Dr. Peterson insisted we look into it further. At Dr. Peterson's suggestion, we submitted Grandma Rose's DNA to one of those ancestry websites. She was skeptical, but curious. "If there's family out there I don't know about," she said, "I want to find them before it's too late." The results came back in 2 weeks, and they changed everything we thought we knew about our family history. The DNA match was incredible, a 99.9% genetic similarity with someone named Margaret Thompson, living in Portland, Oregon. The website indicated they were either identical twins or very close siblings. "That's impossible," Grandma Rose kept saying. "Martha would have told me if I had a sister. She wouldn't have kept that from me." But there it was, in black and white scientific data. Somewhere in Portland was a woman who shared almost identical DNA with my grandmother. I immediately started researching Margaret Thompson online. What I found was absolutely mind-blowing. This woman looked exactly like my grandmother. Same eyes, same smile, even the same way of holding her head in photographs. Margaret Thompson was also 80 years old, born in 1943, and according to her social media profiles, she had also been raised by relatives after her parents died in an accident. The parallels were too incredible to be coincidence. I decided to reach out to Margaret Thompson through Facebook. I sent her a message explaining who I was and sharing the DNA results. Within hours, she responded, "Emma, I've been waiting my whole life for this message. I always felt like part of me was missing. My aunt told me I was an only child, but I had dreams about a sister for as long as I can remember." We arranged a video call between Grandma Rose and Margaret. When that call connected, both women started crying immediately. It was like looking in a mirror across time. "Rose," Margaret whispered, "is it really you?" "I can't believe this is happening," Grandma Rose sobbed. "You look exactly like me. How is this possible?" During that emotional conversation, the pieces of the puzzle started coming together. Both women had been told their parents died in a car accident. Both had been raised by different relatives. Both had always felt inexplicably lonely, like something was missing from their lives. Margaret had been living in Oregon her entire life, raised by her Uncle James. She had married, had children and grandchildren, built a whole life just 400 miles away from her identical twin sister. "I used to stare in the mirror as a child," Margaret told us, "and imagine I was looking at my sister. I thought it was just my imagination, but somehow I knew she was out there. As we dug deeper into family records and contacted elderly relatives, the truth became clear, and it was heartbreaking. Rose and Margaret were indeed identical twins, separated at age 3 when their parents died. But their parents hadn't died in a car accident like both women had been told. Their mother had died from complications during childbirth with a third child. Their father, overwhelmed with grief and unable to care for twin toddlers alone, had made the devastating decision to give one twin to his sister Martha and the other to his brother James. Both aunts lived in different states and agreed to raise the girls as their own children. But here's the part that broke our hearts. They decided never to tell the twins about each other. We found a letter in Aunt Martha's belongings after she passed away 10 years ago. In it, she wrote, "I thought it would be easier for Rose if she believed she was an only child. I didn't want her to spend her life missing someone she couldn't have." Uncle James had made the same decision in Oregon. Both men believed they were protecting the girls from pain, but instead they had robbed them of 80 years together. The DNA test that was supposed to check for medical conditions had accidentally reunited two sisters who had been searching for each other their entire lives without even knowing it. Planning the reunion was the most emotional thing our family has ever done. Margaret lived in Portland with her daughter, Sarah, and her grandchildren. We live in Chicago. After 80 years apart, we wanted this meeting to be perfect. Margaret's family was just as excited as ours. Her grandson Michael called me and said, "My grandmother has talked about missing her other half her entire life. She always said she felt incomplete, like she was only half a person." We decided to meet halfway in Denver. Both families would drive there and rent a hotel conference room for the reunion. We wanted it to be private and special. The week before the trip, Grandma Rose was so nervous she could barely eat. What if we don't like each other? She worried. What if 80 years has made us too different? But I could see the excitement in her eyes. For the first time in decades, she was buying new clothes, getting her hair done, acting like a teenager preparing for a first date. Margaret was doing the same thing in Portland. Her daughter Sarah told us she hadn't seen her mother this animated in years. She's been talking non-stop about Rose. She's planned out everything she wants to say, everything she wants to ask about the last 80 years. The reunion day arrived on October 15th. Both families drove to Denver and met at the Marriott downtown. We had rented a beautiful conference room with big windows and comfortable chairs. When Margaret walked into that room and saw Grandma Rose, time stood still. These two 80-year-old women looked at each other for a long moment, and then they ran toward each other like teenagers. They hugged and cried for 10 minutes straight. Everyone in both families was sobbing. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever witnessed. "Rose, you're here. You're really here," Margaret kept saying. "I can't believe I found you," Grandma Rose whispered back. "I can't believe you're real." What happened next was magical. Despite being separated for 8 decades, these sisters had so much in common, it was almost supernatural. Both had become teachers. Both had married men named Robert. Both had 2 children. Both loved gardening and had grown the same varieties of roses. Both collected vintage teacups and had the same favourite colour, lavender. They spent 12 hours together that first day, talking non-stop, comparing photos, sharing stories, filling in 80 years of missing pieces. "It's like looking at the life I could have had," Rose told Margaret, "but also like looking at the sister I always knew was out there somewhere." That was 3 weeks ago, and since then, Rose and Margaret have talked on FaceTime every single day. They're making up for lost time in the most beautiful way. Margaret flew to Chicago last week to spend time with our family. Watching her and Grandma Rose together was incredible. They finish each other's sentences, laugh at the same jokes. even gesture the same way when they talk. They've started a joint scrapbook, combining photos from both their lives to create the family album they should have had all along. But the most amazing part is how this discovery has changed both women. Grandma Rose, who had seemed lonely and tired lately, now has energy like a woman half her age. She talks about plans for the future, places she wants to visit with Margaret, things they want to do together. I spent 80 years feeling like something was missing, she told me yesterday. Now I know what it was. It was my other half. It was Margaret. Margaret's family says the same thing. She's like a completely different person, full of life and joy in a way they'd never seen before. My grandmother's routine hospital DNA test accidentally solved the greatest mystery of her life. Two identical twins, separated at age 3, found each other at age 80 through medical science, and a little bit of fate. This story taught me that family can be found in the most unexpected ways, and it's never too late for a miracle. Rose and Margaret lost 80 years, but they refused to waste another day. They're already planning to spend Christmas together, alternating between Chicago and Portland. Margaret is teaching Rose how to use Instagram so they can share photos with both families. They've even talked about taking a cruise together next spring. If you have elderly relatives, encourage them to explore their family history. You never know what secrets might be waiting to be discovered. And if you've ever felt like something was missing from your life, maybe it's worth investigating. DNA testing revealed more than medical information for my family. It revealed that love, connection, and family bonds can survive decades of separation. Share this story if it touched your heart and tell me in the comments. Do you have any family mysteries you've always wondered about? Subscribe for more incredible true family reunion stories, because sometimes the best surprises come when we least expect them. My 80-year-old grandmother thought she would die alone, never knowing she had a sister. Instead, she discovered her identical twin and gained a whole new family at the same time. Rose and Margaret Thompson are proof that it's never too late to find your missing piece, and that some family bonds are so strong they survive anything, even 80 years of separation. Sometimes the greatest treasures aren't hidden in storage units or old houses. Sometimes they're hidden in plain sight, just a DNA test away.